welcome to the live. I know I look a hot mess. Going to the gym today, so you know. We're going with the flow. So welcome to the live. My name is Iamtherealtaj. If you do not know, welcome to A Piece of Peace. Today I'm going to be talking about, well, the topic of today's live is I regret listening to the wrong advice. Now, before we start, I hope y'all had a good weekend. Today is Monday. I hope you guys were able to rest because I need y'all to listen. I need y'all to listen to this word. I see y'all on here, so make sure y'all comment so I can know that I'm not here by myself. But before we get started, I am drinking chai tea. It's mushroom tea. It gives you energy, but it's like mushroom chai tea. It's really good. Big cup too. All of this isn't chai tea. Maybe just like half of it. And when I'm done with this live, y'all, I gotta go work out. So that's why I'm dressed like this. So it's okay. We're here. So the title of this live is I regret listening to the wrong advice. Yesterday, I read something really, really good in the Bible. I read Mark chapter 9, and a word in there stood out to me. It stood out to me. And I wanted to answer a question that I received maybe like a few lives ago when I was on live. And just a question in general that people ask me, y'all, because people do ask me this question a lot. And I wanted to answer it on here. So sometimes people will be like, well, how do you, what did you do to understand the Bible? How do you understand it? I realized that I had to change my mindset and the way that I think. I had to get rid of my old thinking and change my mindset with the help of the Lord. So I would ask God to help renew my mind and also continue reading the word, meditating on the word, speaking positive affirmations about myself as well. That has really helped me understand the word, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's get into it. I am reading the CEV version. We're going to start at Mark 9. And then I'm going to basically break down what I got from it, okay? Okay. Very good, very good. 6 days later, Jesus took Peter, James, and John with him. They went up on a high mountain where they could be alone. There in front of the disciples, Jesus was completely changed, and his clothes became much whiter than any bleach on earth could make them. Then Elijah and Moses appeared and were talking with Jesus. Isn't it crazy how they went on a high mountain to be alone? Thank you for the likes. And sometimes we do stuff for people's attention. They did this in private. They did this alone. And I notice like sometimes we'll do stuff in life just to put it on Instagram or just to vlog or just to show somebody. Have y'all ever, now I'm a victim of this, but have y'all ever been on like Instagram or you wanted to post something or put it in your close friends or post something because you know a certain person is going to watch it and you kind of like want to post them to kind of like show what you're doing? I've done that before, and it's crazy that when you start reading when I started reading the story about Jesus, of how he just did stuff not for show. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I had to realize if I'm doing things for show, if I'm doing, for example, if I'm trying to go live or post something just for the likes, just for the views, I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. I don't even want to do it. That's how I had to change my mind. Okay, let's keep going. Then Elijah and Moses appeared. Then Elijah and Moses appeared and were talking with Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, "Teacher, It is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. But Peter and the others were terribly frightened, and he did not know what he was talking about. The shadow of a cloud passed over and covered them. From the cloud, a voice said, "This is my son, and I love him. Listen to what he says." At once, the disciples looked around, but they only saw Jesus. So Jesus took 3 people up on the mountain with him to show him the glory, to show him God's glory. Jesus turned white. His clothes like were lit up, like bright lit up, kind of like a sign, you know. He showed they Jesus showed these 3 men a sign to show God's glory. Peter, he was up there, you know. He was glad. You could tell that he was happy to be there, but he said something that probably didn't make any sense because he was frightened. So a shadow passed by while they were on the mountain, and it was a voice. They heard a voice that said, "This is my son, and I love him. Listen to what he says." So they heard God's voice. And when I read this last night, the word listen stuck to me. Thank you for the likes. The word listen just stuck with me. Listen. 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 And I'm like, dang, how many times do I listen? And then I started to write in my journal. Y'all know I love, this is my other journal. I got a lot of journals. But y'all know I love my journals. And I be writing stuff. And I'll write the scripture. But then I'll write like, what is it saying to me? Like, why do I need to read this? And the word listen just stuck with me. Like, listen, listen, listen. That word, listen. It sticks out to me because I realize that I listened to the wrong people, to the wrong advice. And I asked this question I wrote this question down. Have I been listening to the wrong people and not God? Who have I been listening to? Whether that is my music, whether that's my TV, whether that's my friends, like I just have to stop and think, like, who do I spend my time listening to throughout the day? You know, I may take a few phone calls here and there, and then I had to actually think, like, what am I listening to? Am I listening to gossip? Am I listening to something that's beneficial? You know, when I'm scrolling on my phone, what am I listening to? Am I just listening to people talk? Like, just, am I wasting my time? Who am I listening to? What am I listening to? I encourage y'all to just write out what you're listening to. Like, just sit and think. Go get your journals, go get your notebooks, go get your phone, go get your laptop, whatever it is you need to write down. But just honestly think. Think about, who are you listening to? You know, sometimes I may turn on a podcast and it's not bad. But I realize that if I'm listening to other people more than I'm listening to God, that's when I feel like it's bad. So after I read that, I read Mark 9:18 through 19, which was so good. Because I've read this before, but when I read it again, I got something different out of it. So I'm going to start at, once I continue, y'all are gonna see why this makes sense. Okay. So I'm just gonna start from Mark 9 verse 14. I'm just gonna read the whole thing because I don't want to rush this. I don't need to rush. I'm gonna take my time. When Jesus and his 3 disciples came down, and you know what? Before I start, I want to take my time because when I study, I don't rush, you know? So I don't think it's fair for me to try to tell you guys what I got from it and how I relate to how, you know, what I got from this and how I related this to my life and rush when I don't rush when I study. So I feel like that's unfair. So I'm going to read the whole thing. Sorry for that noise. Okay. We good, y'all. When Jesus and his 3 disciples came back down, they saw a large crowd around the other disciples. The teachers of the law of Moses were arguing with them. The crowd was really surprised to see Jesus, and everyone hurried over to greet him. Jesus asked, "What are you arguing about?" I feel like Jesus hates arguing. Like, like why? What are you arguing about? What is the problem? Someone from the crowd answered, "Teacher, I brought my son to you. A demon keeps him from talking. Whenever the demon attacks my son, it throws him to the ground and makes him foam at the mouth and grit his teeth in pain. Then he becomes stiff. I asked your disciples to force out the demon, but they couldn't do it." Jesus said, "You people don't have any faith. How much longer must I be with you? Why do I have to put up with you? Bring the boy to me." Man, Jesus getting tired. He getting tired because obviously, they're not getting it. They're not understanding. And I realized part of me, that's been me. I wasn't able to understand, one, because I'm listening to the wrong people. Two, I'm letting the wrong people get in my ear about stuff. And three, when you listen, you have to make sure you're understanding what you're listening to. There's a difference for you to just be listening and it goes into one ear and out the other. But when you're actually listening, taking the time to study, replay it over and over, it's kind of like a lecture. If any of you been in school, then I know you can relate to this, or in college, where a teacher is teaching you a lesson, you don't know what it is. They're teaching you something new, and guess what? They go over it over and over and over. Sometimes in school we stayed on the same lesson for about a week or two, or even a month, and we go over it. We go over it over and over and over. Then we take a test. But we supposed to study. We do questions and stuff on it. We do workshops on it. Sometimes we do a project on it. You have to get this information into you over and over and over if you really truly want to understand it. So I realized when Jesus said, "You people don't have any faith," he's talking to me. Jesus is talking to me. Thank you for the likes. He was talking to me. He's talking to me, And I was wondering, like, why is my faith so little? Why don't I have any faith? Like, what's distracting me? Why is it so hard for me to believe? Jesus believed. And the thing about it is that when they brought the boy to Jesus, let's keep going. They brought the boy, and as soon as the demon saw Jesus, it made the boy shake all over. He fell down and began rolling on the ground and foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, How long has he been like this?" The man answered, "Ever since he was a child. The demon has often tried to kill him by throwing him into fire or into water. Please have pity and help us if you can." Jesus replied, "Why do you say if? Anything is possible for someone who has faith," and that right there got me. Because if you have if you're saying if, you're doubting. It's either you believe or you don't believe. So I had to change my terminology. I had to change the way that I think. I had to change the way that I talk. If shouldn't be in my vocabulary. Anything is possible for someone who has faith. Some days I would have faith. Some days I wouldn't have faith. And I was like, why was that? Listening to the wrong things. It's hard. It was so hard for me to have faith when I'm surrounded by negativity, y'all. I don't know about you guys, but if I'm surrounded by negativity, negative Nancy's, it's just gonna be a true challenge for me to get some faith. I have to surround myself by like-minded people, positivity, and I have to tell myself positive things daily, every day. Wake up, say, do some affirmations. And I know people think it's corny, or, you know, sometimes people they don't believe that doing, you know, affirmations, they don't believe they don't believe in affirmations, sorry. But when you do it, the more you do it, the more you speak it, you start to believe. It's like an everyday thing. So when I started changing my mind, how I talked, how I thought, started to cut off certain things. You know, I had to cut off certain noises, certain sounds, like music, the negative stuff, the drama filled stuff, and I had to just change. Y'all I actually really did change. So the word listen still stuck out to me, y'all, because I feel like it goes hand in hand. Having faith and also listening. And so I wrote down the reason why I listened to other people, because I lacked faith. So I realized that I always used to ask people what they think or what they think I should do in every situation. I'm not even going to say certain situation. Every situation, I've always asked somebody, what do you think I should do? And then after I get off the phone with them, I'll call somebody else. Okay, yeah, this is a situation. This happened. What do you think I should do? Then I get off the phone, then I call somebody else, and that was my routine. I didn't stop to ask God. I didn't ask God what he thought about something. I didn't pray about it. I just asked a whole bunch of people and then made a decision based on how many of the same answers or responses I would get. That's not how you make a decision. Because you can get 10 people telling you the wrong advice. That's not how you make a decision. But because I lacked faith, that's what I was doing. Because I lacked faith, I didn't have faith. When Jesus said, you people don't have any faith, he was right. He was talking to me. I didn't have any faith. So yes, I had to go listen to other people. And sometimes I realized when my situation was bad, I didn't have any faith. I'm always looking at the situation. So when I Googled, when I went to the Bible app, I typed in listen in the Bible app, and so many verses had the word listen in it. In Luke 8:18, it says, pay attention to how you listen. We just talked about that. Pay attention to how you listen. And this right there, to me, is speaking about pay attention to how you listen to what's written in the Bible. Because some people will read the Bible or they'll listen to it, and it really means something else. So first, pay attention to how you listen. In Proverbs 8:33, listen carefully to my instructions and you will be wise. And I did like this whole study in my other notebook on how do you get wisdom. Wisdom is in the Bible. Read the Bible. Listen to the Bible and you will have wisdom. Wisdom doesn't come with age. All old people ain't wise. There's a lot of people who are young that are very wise for their age. Age doesn't have anything to do with wisdom. It's just a number, because you can be old and just dumb. Like, I mean, you still making bad decisions at your old age. Age don't have anything to do with it. Have you guys ever seen somebody who was just you know, an uncle or somebody? I don't know why I chose an uncle, but just somebody who was much older than you that keeps making the same mistakes or the same bad decisions. That right there should tell you that age doesn't have anything to do with being wise. You want to be wise? You read the Bible. Read the Bible. Proverbs 8:34 says, come to my home each day and listen to me. You will find happiness. Okay, what is God saying about that? He's saying listen to him every day. Come to his home every day. Not some days, but every day. Seek God every day. Get in that safe space, that quiet space with God every day. And when I went to Job 33, verse 3, it says, otherwise, listen in silence to my wisdom. Listen in silence from my wisdom. So I'm like, dang, do I listen in silence? Like, what's distracting me from silence? Are y'all scared of silence? Sometimes silence can be a little scary, especially if you used to noise and loudness and rah-rah all day. So I had to realize, like, okay, I made a list of things that distracts me from the silence. Talking on the phone, or being on my phone, or always trying to play something in the background, like a background noise. Why can't I just sit in silence? I gotta work on that, y'all. That's my new goal this week, is to sit in silence and be in silence. Because Job 33 and 3 says, listen in silence to my wisdom. Sometimes we can't hear from God because we're not in silence. Everything gotta be loud. Music gotta be booming and up loud, on. TV gotta be on. When was the last time you just sat there with your spare time in silence? Man, you get some of the best thoughts and the best ideas in silence. The best creativity in silence. And silence is uncomfortable for me. I mean, anything is uncomfortable when you're not used to it. And I have adapted to the busy culture in today's world. Like today in today's society, like today right now where we at, 2025, everything is always busy. Like it's normalized to have a busy schedule, a busy calendar, to always be doing something, to always be going somewhere. I'm gonna prioritize my silence this week, my quiet time this week, so I can properly hear. I wrote down in Job 4 and 16, it says, I stopped and stood still. Thank you for the likes. Then a form appeared, a shapeless form. And from the silence, I heard a voice say, he heard a voice. I didn't write down what the voice was. I was just focused on, dang, silence, stood still. That reminds me of the scripture, peace be still. Be still means sit down. Don't do anything. Just sit there. Be there. Be present. You don't have to be, we always spend, y'all. I've been like observing people's behaviors lately, even at their jobs. Everybody is doing this. And it be so loud like this too sometimes. Like this. With all the different videos playing, and it's just every day, all day. You go to the toilet, you're doing this. You're cooking, you're playing your phone, you're doing this. You're driving, you listening to something. You at work, you got something in your AirPod. Are we in silence? How many times a day do you sit in silence? Maybe I haven't heard God's voice because I'm distracted. And God's not gonna compete. I got the cell phone, I got the music playing, I got everything loud turned up, and I can't hear God's voice. And I know a lot of times people be like, I don't know what to do. Well, do you sit still? Why do we think that the answer is gonna come from being busy and being busy? Why do we what normalized that? Why do we think that? That's crazy. I have to unlearn that. Because God speaks in silence. Even those thoughts. Now I'm not talking about the negative thoughts. Let's get that clear. Can y'all see the live? Are y'all able to comment? Hold on. I see y'all in here, but I don't see the comments. So you're in here, can you try to comment, please? Just want to make sure that it's working, because I'm gonna be devastated if it's not. Oh my gosh, you can't even comment. You're in here, can you try to comment, please? This is crazy. I'm so sorry, y'all. Why my chat be off? So y'all, I'm gonna get off here and I'm gonna come back because we